This is a recording about food labels, energy, and choices. We're going to identify some healthy snacks, look at a little primer about food labels, and also explain where caloric needs come from. The calculation of identifying the number of calories that you need to maintain your body weight takes into consideration a number of factors. And one is your body weight and your height, and another is your activity level. And if you look at our reference, male and female, we have a sedentary, active, and athlete value. The athlete value is 24,000 plus or 2,700 plus. So it's going to depend upon how many workouts a person puts in each day, but these are going to be the highly active individuals. You can calculate your own value if you'd like by accessing a wide variety of calculators that are available online. What that looks like is looking at the number of calories per day that you consume, spread it out with a couple snacks. So here we have 250 calories in snacks. Looking at some snacks are a little bit higher in calories. So if it's a granola bar or something along that line, they're usually around 200. If it's a piece of fruit, it's less. If it's carrots and peanut butter, it might be a little more. So you look at what kind of snacks that you enjoy and subtract that from your overall value, and then look at what an average meal for calories would be. So this is just a rough look at what that might look like. We want to use our hunger as our guide and having whatever style of eating works for you. Some people are grazers and eat smaller meals more frequently. Other individuals will have their primary meal at lunch, and others will eat their most dense caloric meal later in the day. Very briefly, the macronutrients that we need as functions of how it should be divided or in our daily food intake. Carbohydrates have a contribution of energy source, and it is especially preferred during exercise. There are 4 kcals of energy for each gram of carbohydrate. And if we know that we have a range of 45 to 65% of our total calories recommended to be carbohydrate, we can identify how many grams that would be. And here's an example. So a 2,000 calorie diet times 45% would mean 900 kilocalories of carbohydrate would be at the low end of that spectrum. At the higher end of the spectrum is 65. So 45 to 65% of total calories of carbohydrate would be between 900 to 1,300 kilocalories. And now we have the use of grams on our labels. You can divide your total calories by or that range, that percentage, by 4 kcals per gram, and you can get a rough idea about what that looks like for grams per day. We have simple and complex carbs. The simple ones are very rapidly available. They give us a quick burst of energy. And we have complex, which means it's, especially with grains, it's the whole grains that have the bran, the germ, and the endosperm. And you can see that you get some components in the whole, the complex carbohydrate that includes some vitamins, minerals, and fiber. Protein can be from either an animal source or a vegetable or a plant source. Plants are the um, very sustainable for our planet. And if you can consider having at least one meal a day or one meal a week, minimally, with just having a meat-free meal or a meat-free day, that's a real benefit for your health and also for the planet. Protein is necessary for hormones, for metabolic processes. It's important for energy, and we get plenty of healthy fats from some of these proteins. The only plant source that has all of the essential amino acids, which is the building block of a protein, is soy. So, soy milk and tofu are complete proteins. Other than that, all plant sources are incomplete. They don't have all of the essential amino acids. And the essential amino acids mean that we have to consume them. So, you can eat a variety of foods and feel comfortable that you are getting that essential amino acid spectrum. We have a range of recommendation, and that's 10 to 35%. And we could do the same calculation for protein if we had the 2,000 calories times 10%, and then divide that by 4, and we can get the number of grams of protein that is healthy. If we were to look into there are two ways of really calculating your protein consumption, and that is either by weight or it's by percentage of calories. Fats are necessary, and we have healthy fats and fats that we should limit. So the healthy fats are our unsaturated or monosaturated fats, olives, olive oil, almonds, some fish, healthy like the fatty fish. Salmon is one of those. Believe it or not, sardines would be on that list as well. And then we have fats that we should limit. So we can eat cakes and a cookie, but we don't want to have that as our main source of fat. We want to focus on eating fats that are plant source and also more healthy based. We look at fat soluble vitamins as being necessary for fat stores these vitamins and also helps to carry those vitamins in the body. Fat is also necessary for what's called satiety, and that is a sense of fullness. It also gives us texture that we enjoy and somewhat slows down the digestion. You'll see that fat has a little over twice the amount of kilocalories per gram than carbohydrates and protein. So it's a more dense source of energy. And here the range is 20 to 35%. Now, the one thing that I didn't mention is alcohol. Alcohol is in between fats and carbohydrates and proteins. It's about 7 kcals per gram. And of course, with alcohol, we don't get any vitamins and minerals. And there's also a potential for consuming too many calories or excess calories in our diet by consuming alcohol or excess alcohol. How about water? Well, water, we are very fortunate to have access to clean water. There's just been a new charge in South Haven, I think, that the change in the lead pipes needs to be done there too, and everyone's supposed to drink bottled water. Same thing that happened in Flint several years ago. And having bottled water available is really a gift. If you have access to clean tap water, it really has as much safety as getting bottled water. Many times the bottled water, if it's not necessary, it does have a cost involved, and it also impacts the environment in terms of plastic use. And there's also some concern about how much water is taken up by companies away from the community where they draw it and then they sell it. So it's an interesting problem that we have with water. You can get water from your dining locations and many of your water fountains by using your reusable water bottle and carrying that water around with you throughout the day. And if you haven't gotten your water bottle, you can get a water bottle from the sustainability office one time free for your student fees that you pay. And I encourage you to do that. The amount of water that we should drink really is not an easy answer. It's not an easy answer. It varies depending upon how hot it is, the humidity, how much you're sweating, how much sodium that you've consumed. The recommendation is about 15 and a half cups for men, 11 and a half cups for women. But we also have a rule that you can consume based upon 2/3 to 1/2 of your body weight in pounds and make that ounces. So a 200-pound person, 2/3 would be 150 ounces and half would be 100 ounces. Label reading. We have labels that would contain quite a bit of information. Just note that you see that there's a serving size, and you want to pay attention to that because you might consume more than that particular amount, which means that you want to double or change or look at the grams each time. The label will include when the food is perishable, so the sell-by date. That means it's a perishable food and that the food might become either has to be used very, very quickly or will need to be disposed of. The use by date means peak quality. It doesn't mean you have to throw it away. It means that if you see use by, it means that its quality is going to decrease over time. The best used by date is for optimal flavor. So those are things to think about. Sell by is perishable, use by is peak quality, and best used by is for flavor or quality. The ingredients on a label are listed in the order by the weight of the biggest contributor. So as you can imagine, peanut butter filled pretzels is primarily a grain-based food. And you also will see the next item is peanut butter. But there are also some other components in there: corn syrup, barley, caramel color, and finally leavening. You'll see that the contains wheat and peanut is the warning for people that have allergies. The nutrition labels start by looking at the serving size, and the yellow is limit these, and the blue is focus on getting these. And you'll see that the fiber and the vitamins, calcium, and iron will give you, those are the ones that we often don't get enough of. And the limit ones seem to be the ones that are easy to consume. And that's why it's good to pay attention to that. Real quickly, your dorm room, think of things that are easy to eat, readily available, non-perishables, peanut butter, bean dip, tortillas, etc. So just remember, we've got some guidelines of how we should divide our food. And also, I didn't talk about sugar, but that's important in terms of limiting 9 teaspoons for men, 6 for women. And thank you.